The game begins now.
I can't remember the last time I cast a Serral game in which he was the underdog. I can't remember it because it's never happened. But in 2021, Clem has pretty much taken the boots to Serral. Now, in fairness to Serral, Clem's been taking the boots to everybody. But Serral's been looking pretty good as of late. As I cast this, he's busy taking names at Dreamhack. But despite his success, Clem remains a perpetual obstacle. Maybe we'll get some insight into this conundrum today. Maybe we won't, but I'm sure we'll have fun trying. One thing to note, Serral doesn't have a weakness per se, but his weakest matchup is TVZ. Surprisingly, Clem's worst matchup is also TVZ. I say surprisingly because when I watch him play, it looks like he's born to play it. Technically, our Team Liquid player's name may mean mercy, but you'll never get it from this guy because he's Clem!
Current world rank 2.
Yes, it's a hatch first out of Serral. Here comes his extractor pool. Carpe Nocturne, my friends, for he is the Night King. He is Serral!
Current world rank 1.
Okay, Clem's Rax is finishing up and he is pooling minerals, so we've got ourselves a Reaper Expand. He's gonna include that extra SCV Scout for hatch verification purposes. Just to make sure that Serral isn't up to anything. We do though know that he's not. So far both players opting for standard play to open this series. Our map, by the way, is gonna be Blackburn. It's a newer map, but I feel like Clem's already figured out every nook and cranny. He's got all these nasty attack angles and drop points. Serral's natural's gonna pop, and it's gonna be witnessed by Clem's SCV. His job done, he's gonna head right back home. It's 2 queens, 4 lings, it's the Serral standard. The Reaper takes the back door out of Clem's base, shaving just a fraction of a second, and the Reaper does not micro around the deceleration zone. I infer that Clem has figured out that there's no time saved by doing so. Look at this, he goes right for the back door. I love that there's a caution sign on the Reaper door, by the way. The Reaper goes for the drones, the lings are here to intercept. A grenade splashes in the mineral line, another 5 seconds before the queen can get here to clean things up. Until then, it's dance monkey dance for those lings. Serral's rotating like a boss to keep them alive. The queen is here, the Reaper's gotta back off. Meanwhile though, back at home, Clem has started up a second command center. We've seen him do this before. When Zerg goes econ, he econs right back at him. Some people call it greedy, but he's doing his scouting with that Reaper and he knows he can get away with it. He knows the exact timing on that third. There's no ling horde he has to worry about. And this is suboptimal for Serral. Once Clem gets that economy really humming, he just murders the Zerg. Okay, so the original Rax has donated its reactor, and now it's building a tech lab instead. Meanwhile, the factory's using said reactor to build a pair of Hellions. Meanwhile, the Reaper's dancing on the fringes. It's no doubt hoping to pick off a tumor, but mostly it's trying to achieve what I like to call attention damage. As long as it's still out there, Serral has to keep worrying about it. A Clem Reaper is not something you can safely ignore. Third pops, Clem starts up stim, ling speed is almost done. And now the factory's gonna give up that reactor to the second Rax. If anyone's surprised that Clem's going for Tank Marine, I don't know what to tell you. No Zerg has ever given Clem a reason not to. I love Serral's Overlord placement. He's got them covering all the entryways, giving them advance notice of what Clem's trying to do. Ideally, he'll keep pushing them out as he expands with creep tumors to take their place. Oh, Roach Warren for Serral. He's doing that before Lair. Clem fully appreciates the Overlord is picking up on all his entry points. He doesn't care. He's like a mosquito. He just wants to keep forcing Serral to have to react to him. Because if Serral plays 1 versus none, he'll be at 200 supply before you know it. Probably with 85 drones and creep over 75% of the map. As is, Serral's already up 9 workers and he's making 4 more. Clem though is enjoying triple SCV production, which is pretty good at this phase of the game. Oh, double creep tumor snipe, that is so annoying. Score 1 for the mosquitoes. Oh, Clem has lifted off his third. It's headed for the triangular third base. Clem immediately uses the extra space to throw down his third Rax. Meanwhile, Serral starts up his lair. I've seen a lot of other Clem games where he likes to take his Hellion count up to 6 or even 8. Here though, he stopped at 2. I don't think he's all that serious about darting into Serral's mineral line. I think the plan is he comes early with a lot of Marines. Oh, it's my favorite yoga pose, lands like command center. And he's pulled back Team Mosquito to cover it, because he's loading double medevacs. Okay people, this just got real really fast. 15 Marines getting the boost. Serral's Overlord is gonna see that. He knows he's got to get some defense to his main right away. Actually no, Clem's gonna drop them at the edge of the creep. The Overlord's gonna see that too. Serral thought the same thing I did. He put his lings to protect the main. I think Clem used that Overlord to send fake information, and now he's cleaning up creep. Serral dispatches his roaches to force the Marines away. Excuse me, but one of those Marines still had his table tray down, and his seat was not in the upright locked position. He was probably just annoyed that the Dominion has stopped serving snacks on the in-flight trips. I guess if Clem's your pilot, it's probably the definition of a short-haul flight. Those poor Marines are gonna have to keep getting off every 2 seconds. No chance to enjoy some in-flight music. Meanwhile, Serral's getting roach speed. He knows he's gonna need that. Ooh, that Ultralist does not look happy. The Zerg's 4th base at the rich minerals has just finished, just in time for Clem to attack it. But the roaches are there. Combat shield's about to finish up. Both players going for double upgrades, +1/+1. Clem definitely doesn't want to make it easy for Serral to scoop up those gold minerals. It's a vulnerable base, you can really hit it on multiple sides. Serral's roaches with the high ground. Unfortunately, Anakin did not surrender. Oh, Clem's sneaking a 3rd medevac over. I don't know if Serral caught it blowing by his Overlord. The original medevacs are drawing the roaches back as far as they can. They're going to be way out of position when the next 8 Marines hit the main. Clem finds that tiny patch that doesn't have creep on it. Oh! Serral with the Evo block, buying time to get his drones away. So very clutch. That could have gone so much worse for him. In fact, the 4 drones lost were actually lost at the gold mineral line. Clem is everywhere. But somehow Serral is defending. He has fallen even on workers though. And he's losing enough mining time that Clem has the mineral lead. Clem is now adding an extra factory and that armory. With all of this, Clem hasn't lost a single medevac. In fact, all he's lost is just a handful of Marines. Serral's looking to transition with Baneling speed. His speed roaches just aren't speedy enough. Clem starts his 4th command center. That's kind of an interesting spot. It'll cost him a short trip to get to the nearest mineral line, but while it's building, it'll be somewhat easier to defend. Sort of a neat compromise between full safety of building it in your main and the full risk of building it right at the mineral line. Serral's getting a handle on these dropships and he's got his drone count back up. The problem is, Clem looks pretty ready for his next wave. This time he'll be bringing the tanks. Serral hopes to be bringing Banelings with centrifugal hooks, but they're not ready yet. And Clem is pushing out. Oh, random mule crashes in the middle of the map. I thought he was a repair mule, but it looks like he's headed back to mine. Oh, this is a scary looking force. I bet Serral wishes he could recruit all the Ultralisks decorating the map. Oh, look at this. Serral's splitting up his units. He's trying to set up some kind of surround here. He's trying to invite Clem onto the creep so he can smash him. Clem's gonna drop a scan and see if he can change the terrain into his favor. Oh yeah, Serral's looking to come at him on every side. Clem's gonna have to be so careful here. There's a wolf pack about. Has he seen enough clues? Is he gonna put it together? Serral's almost faking weakness here, showing a smaller army than he really has. Oh, meanwhile, Serral heard me about the Ultralisks. He's actually started an Ultralisk cavalry. Clem's just kind of flittering around the center of the map. That could be dangerous for him, though he does have 2 tanks set. One of which is on the high ground. Oh, Serral coming right around. Clem sees the trap closing. He pulls back. His reinforcements are just in time. Serral realizes he doesn't have enough to crush it. He's gonna get one of the tanks and pull back. But it's actually Clem who turns the tables and comes out on top. Did Clem get lucky there, or did he set that up? This just got really dangerous for Serral. Now there's a huge Terran army within spitting distance of his gold. Serral responds by making 42 Zerglings. And as his hive tech's complete, he's also adding Vipers. Look at Clem shooting over that mineral wall. He knows he's safe from the lings and the veins. Admittedly, not so safe from the caustic files, but this is still a really great position for Clem. There's that chitinous plating upgrade on the way. He's also got his first Ultra in production. Another unit that can't go through gold minerals. Clem just abusing the terrain here with such a small amount of Marines and Marauders. And then when Serral swings his army around to do something about it, he's going to find a bunch of tanks sieged up. Meanwhile, although both our players are about to max out, it's actually Clem who's winning the minerals game here. He's bringing up more tanks to own that center. That is valuable real estate. I'm not like saying Monopoly's Boardwalk here, but maybe Pennsylvania, North Carolina, that sort of thing. Clem's about to hit Serral's 5th right before it finishes. He's actually started a 6th base, but I'm not sure his 5th is going to hold here. Here's the cavalry. The Lings are exuberant to find that the Marines aren't hiding behind a mineral line. But the maxed out Clem is reinforcing this with tanks, and they've got +1 attack now. Serral has birthed his first Ultralist though, perhaps that can help him out here. Clem's about to get a tank within range of that hatch. Meanwhile, the tanks on the stairs can actually shell the gold base. Clem's attacking and giving himself a fallback position at the same time. Serral drops the blinding cloud on the tank. That's going to help Serral get his Ultralists on top of the Terran position. Clem's Marines are deep in the yellow, but there's a lot of medevacs. So much carnage. Does Serral have enough to hold? Clem reinforces his position again at the last second. Serral has been routed. The Marines stim forward. They're going to get the hatch. Serral's attempting a counterattack. Not his first, but certainly the biggest one he's had all game. Clem, though, has done serious damage to his army and to his economy. Serral needs this to work, but Clem is guarding the ramp. The Marauders are the right choice to power down those Ultras. They fall, and now there's a huge army disparity. Clem jumps on the gold base, and it's GG! Game 1 goes to Clem. This is what he's been doing to Zergs all year long. And somehow this is his worst matchup? Imagine for a moment if your Marines could shoot over a depot wall, and that depot wall was indestructible. It would be pretty damn effective against Ling Bane and even Ultralisks. Well, that's kind of what a mineral line is actually like. Although you can mine it with a simple cutting tool, it's impervious to everything else. Good on Clem for taking advantage, but that's not why he won. I think the pivotal moment in this game was the big Serral surround. Clem was taking a position in the center of the map. Serral was shrewdly positioning his forces to get a wide surround. We've seen him do this before, and he crushes his opponents. I mistakenly thought Clem was failing to identify it. It looked to me like he was staying out too long. Looking back at it, I think Clem knew exactly what he was doing. He saw it, and he waited. He wanted Serral to slam his trapdoor. Once Zerg made its move, he pulled back to safety, essentially clumping the Zerg back up and letting him shell the horde with his tanks for splash damage. Suddenly, the hunter becomes the hunted. It didn't hurt that he had reinforcing units arriving at just the right time. It may be that in hindsight, Serral waited too long and needed to strike earlier, but it's hard to know. What I do know is that Clem is cagey. He seems to see everything and react perfectly. I don't envy Serral. Let's see how he adjusts for Game 2. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Serral has to grapple with, how does he play against perfection? He's probably thinking, oh yeah, this is how it felt for everybody else throughout 2019. Serral is no longer unbeatable. He's merely awesome. As for Clem, it seems like only yesterday that everybody was talking about the potential of this kid. He could be a champion in 5 years, they said. 5 years? It took him 5 months. But something tells me Serral's not quite ready to pass the baton. He's just not the type to go gently into that good night. Anyway, we'll see what he's got planned for Beckett Industries. It's a smaller map known as a rush map. Whoa! Serral's going extractor pool first. I know this is in his toolbox, but I don't get to see it too often. Better get to those intros. Our Terran player is so young. When he was born, George Lucas was just releasing Attack of the Clones. He is Clem! Well, he's legally able to drive now. It was always kind of weird to me that he could drive a siege tank, but not an automobile. Okay, so Serral is going to take his natural here. It's not too crazy. He might just want that faster pool to defend against the Rax rush. Or he's thinking, short map, let's plan a rush of our own. Clem's Rax is about to complete. Let's see what he invests in scouting. No Reaper. Right to a reactor, but he is going to send over an SCV to check it out. At the same time, he's got the minerals to put down that command center. In contrast, when our Zerg player was born, Steven Spielberg came up with this movie. That's right, give it up for Serral! Clem's SCV is gonna see that pool is quite a ways away from poppin'. He's gonna immediately put 2 and 2 together, including that there's 2 Lings coming after him. What he may or may not have deduced is that Serral has put down the Roach Warren. We are looking at a Roach Ravager rush in the face, people. Factory immediately goes down. We've seen Clem hold off this rush before, but not when it was being brought by the Night King himself. Oh, Serral got his first queen out and transferred it down to his natural. That's so smooth. Roach Warren completes. And the queen is right there for the hatch splash. 4 roaches on the way. I'm looking to see if Clem's gonna cancel his natural. The factory suggests he's looking to fall back to that wall. Maybe he'll finish it and let it lift off. That early reactor let him get his marine count up to 4 already. Serral's gonna send out his original 2 Lings to scout and see what he's up against. But his first wave of roaches are already on the way. 4, 5 more being made behind it. Oh, Clem's gonna do a reactor switch. I just realized he doesn't have the tech lab to make a cyclone. Oh, he started an armory. He's thinking to hold this with Hellbats. He might have been thinking it was a pure Ling rush. Oh, this is cray-cray. The scouting Lings arrive, but there's 6 Marines to easily deal with that. Oh, Clem's putting down a depot. He has no plans to evacuate his natural. That is confidence. He's looking to hold it all. Serral's roaches arrive and say, you're looking to bite off more than you can chew, buddy. He's even got his first Ravager. Clem retreats his Hellions and Marines back up the ramp. The SCVs at the natural looking to escape as well. Serral's not gonna let them. But Clem darts down for a brazen rescue. He snipes a roach and heads back up the ramp like gangbusters. Oh, he got the depots up. But Serral brought along a Ravager, so he might not care. That depot is gone. Serral forces his way up. The Hellbat transformation has happened, but Serral kills them both. But Clem got the all-important Ravager. Big SCVs surround. The last 4 Marines are fighting from a place of safety. Serral's not reinforcing. Clem is gonna hold. And he only lost 5 SCVs. That's a tremendous cleanup. The bad news is Serral is way ahead on economy. He's saturated his natural. But it turns out that on the exchange, Serral actually lost more resources than Clem. And now Clem is actually looking to counter. He's sending out his Marines. I don't know how that's going to work out. Serral's making another round of roaches. He's also starting up Ling speed. Oh, and a 3rd base. Maybe Clem's got the right idea. He can shut this down. Clem managed to sneak out a Cyclone, and he's actually starting a siege tank now. Oh, Clem's headed for the natural, not the 3rd. He zips right through the acceleration zone. That's where Serral's roaches are. Clem's gonna need that Cyclone right away. And Serral's also got a queen he can add to the defense. He brings it forward. And Serral's gotta be happy that he's the player who now has the ramp. Is Clem actually gonna bust through that somehow? No, he can't, right? I just have no idea what Clem is capable of anymore. If there's anybody else, I'd say he was just chucking units away. Yeah, he's going home. What he has done, though, is he's forced Serral to punch out a whole bunch of roaches. So if Serral wanted to drone up, he just got set back. But Clem is going for a 3rd command center. I'm not sure he realized he forced Serral to stop droning. Serral's dumping all his money into Ling Roach Ravager. If Clem holds a second time, he will have such a huge lead. And he does have a tank, but Serral's got twice the army size here. Clem starts up stim, but I think Serral means to hit well before then. Yeah, still no drones for Serral. Everything's going into army. He's not entirely all in because he's got his third building. But Serral will need to do damage and find value for this army. Clem's tank forces the Lings back. Oh, that Cyclone is dangerously alone. Serral would love to draw out some of Clem's defending units. That would make his siege so much easier. Serral's got 3 Ravagers, and he's making nothing but Lings behind this. Oh, he probably wanted a Ling in front to take that tank hit. But who cares? That tank can't survive the triple bile. Once again, Clem pulls all his SCVs. Serral's like, hey, these are the guys I came to kill anyway. Over a dozen dead already. Make that 18. If Serral can hold him back long enough, he can get a second tank out. But Serral has busted into the natural. He's adding another Ravager. The Lings are on top of the production. He'll be able to attack the Marines as they pop out. GG from Clem! Serral ties the series. Okay, so I totally did not expect that after Clem's amazing original hold. He took that original Roach Ravager Rust like a boss. And he did it without a Cyclone, which until now I always thought of as a survival requirement. I think from there, though, Clem may have made some suboptimal moves. He tried to counter and lost a few too many units trying to fight his way up that ramp, and then he got a little bit crazy going for a third command center. That could have been another tank or another 8 Marines or something that might have made a difference. Fantastic reaction by Serral. I don't think Serral planned on pushing that attack at all after his first one failed. When he set down his third, I think he wanted to set his defenses and drone up. But then he said, hey, I got a lot of roaches, I better use them. Then he took it up a few notches and won the game from there. But if you'll excuse me, what I really want to talk about on this map is the Infestor Bathtub. That's what I call it, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. Is it a spa for infestors? Maybe a bariatric chamber? I'm not even 100% sure that's an infestor. It might be a giant locust. Anyways, I really just wanted to zoom in to see if the infestor had any bath toys. You know, rubber Zergling, you're the one. You make bath time so much fun. But then I realized if I could zoom in far enough, I could actually read the tiny little schematics on the screen. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we revealed them here as a Starcraft first? So if you haven't seen this before, prepare to be amazed. Code 926. Unable to locate source of frame shift mutation. Hate it when I can't find that. Subject random number code, 36% probability DNA cannot be recovered. Shows increasing signs of hostility to handlers. Hey, I'd be hostile too if people were interrupting my bath. But if you zoom in on the formulas on the right window pane, you'll see it says subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft, because we've got some seriously cool games in the coming lineup, and you do not want to miss them. Okay, enough with the shameless plugs. Let's get to our tie-breaking rubber match. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Okay. Oh, so Clem's not using his usual smiling star icon. I think that means he's getting serious here. Actually, it probably means nothing and I'm just reading into things. But we do have a rubber match here on 2000 Atmospheres. A single game to decide the series. Oh, you know how I'm always displaying the rush distance on the various maps that we play on? I finally got clarification on how those official numbers are calculated. It's the time it takes a worker to go from your main ramp to your opponent's main ramp. So somewhere there's a very tired SCV whose actual job is to test the rush distance on all these maps. And the Rax goes down, and it does look like Serral's going back to his regular hatch first build. It was kind of a treat to watch him do a Roach Ravager rush. And speaking of total treats, how about our Terran player? At the time I'm casting this, he has yet to drop a single map at Dreamhack. I'm talking about Clem!
Kaboom, baby!
But if we're gonna talk about Dreamhack, we gotta talk about this guy. The man who's going extractor pool right now. The man who's gone top 3 at the last 6 Dreamhacks. Yes, I'm talking about Serral! Okay, now I'm totally stoked. Let's finish this, people. 2 men enter, 1 man leave. It's a rubber match. We're in absolute Thunderdome mode here. Clem's gone back to the Reaper expand we saw in Game 1. He sent that scouting SCV across the map. He's really a fan of that early 3rd command center. And it's early days, but it looks like he might attempt it again. Clem's orbital is about to complete, and it looks like we're going to be able to witness the inaugural mule. But as important as that is, much more important is that Clem's SCV is going to witness the timing on that hatch. I don't think I even need to look to tell you that it's going to be 2 queens and 4 lings for Serral. Clem's Reaper is going to go across the map. Oh, and look at this. Serral's going to sneak out a drone early. He's going to stash it over the triangular 3rd. He doesn't have his 300 minerals yet. It's conceivable that Clem could find it and snipe it. But no, he goes first for the natural like everyone else. A nice little prognication rock, scissor, paper moment for Serral there. Clem's hoping he can stall that drone, but it's already out. And I don't think Serral's gonna let him pop any lings. He's rotating them well. Queen is out, and Clem's gonna check to see what happened with the 3rd. No, he wants to fight some more. Okay, here we go. He checks the lateral 3rd base location and finds nothing. And then he rotates to the triangular 3rd, finds the hatches already down. How did that drone get past me, he wonders. Or maybe he doesn't, because he's focused on his reactor switch. Looks like it's going to be double Hellions, just like Game 1. Also like Game 1, we have that early 3rd command center in production. This build gives Clem so much economic power, and it seems to be ready to bump up his army a lot faster than you'd expect. Reaper's in full mosquito mode, looking to slow down those creep tumors. But Ling speed is just about done. The map won't be safe for a Reaper, at least until he gets his Hellion buddies. And look at that, you see that fishing line on the Reaper? Clem's pre-rallied his Hellions to link up with the Reaper. And as soon as I say that, he cancels it just to make me look bad. The Hellions are gonna park outside the natural instead. Nope, Clem changes his mind. He's also going up to 4 Hellions, by the way. Serral sent his 4 original lings into transit. He's building 6 more behind it, but he's mostly droning up. The Hellions did move out of position. The lings get inside. He's looking for SCV kills. The Hellions are looking for the first blood. They get that. The Hellions are going to torch all the lings, and Serral got 0 SCV kills. I'm almost suspecting Clem fake being out of position there. Serral's seizing the moment to send in a slow overlord to try to get the scout. He gets to see the 3rd orbital, and he gets to see a Raven in production. A single Marine's going to try to chase him out. Serral's going to try to save his overlord rather than going deeper. Meanwhile, 4 Hellions and a Reaper are giving the Queen fits. That overlord is going to escape with his life. If Serral thinks Clem's making it hard for him to spread creep now, wait until he gets that Raven out. He's going to be able to see every tumor. There is a bad omen for Clem here. The winner of the first blood has lost every game in this series. Yeah, that Raven's also got a link-up rally. Clem's got a plan to shut down the creep tumors. This is a bit like Game 1, where Clem went like forever before he lost his first unit. He's being exceedingly careful and really prolonging this phase of harass. Serral's adding safety spores, and he's started up his lair. He did get a Baneling nest first for safety, but I don't see a Roach Warren this time. That's going to give this game a much different character than Game 1 and 2. Oh, look at that surround! Serral hits from 3 sides. He's had enough. How many was that? He got the Reaper, and he got 6 Hellions. 6 Hellions and a Reaper for 9 lings. Clem responds to the end of that chapter by putting down his 3rd. Serral's going to start up his 4th. Clem's got the gas lead, Serral's got the minerals. I'm still loving that surround. That was the surround that Serral wanted in Game 1. Clem's creep hunting force has been depleted down to 6. He is going to finish Stim though, and he's making double medevacs. In Game 1 that meant drops, and it was so effective. Clem starts up 1-1. Serral's lair finishes, enabling him to start Baneling speed. We call centrifugal hooks Baneling speed all the time, but I almost never mention that it gives your Banelings extra hit points. It also lets them do that cool rolling motion, but you knew that. Overseer comes in. He's going to see Clem powering like a maniac. He sees Clem going up to 5 barracks. He sees the combat shield starting. He doesn't see the +1/+1, but Serral's gone double Evo on his own anyway. Serral's also making a macro hatch at his main. Oh, that Raven is just gonna kill so many creep tumors. Serral's like, I can't believe you remade your Hellions. I was sure I'd killed them off. But now what Clem's really doing is making Marines 5 at a time. And Serral's not gonna have any roaches. He's gonna do this with Ling Bane. And here comes the first drop already. That's 10 Marines right there. Serral does not have Baneling speed yet. It's close. Oh, those queens think they're battling Hellions, but it's about to be so much more. Ah, false advertising! Somebody call the Better Business Bureau! Clem's firepower suddenly doubles. Oh, and he even throws down an auto turret. Serral could lose his 4th here, or a ton of queens. Clem hits before the 1/1 and the combat shields. Baneling speed does finish. Serral's making a whole bunch of Banelings. He wants to green bomb his way out of this. Clem has a much bigger army right now. Oh, Serral starts a Hydra dance. Combat shields are about to finish, and every one of Clem's Marines is going to heal 10 hit points instantly. It's like instant field medicine. And even worse for Serral, here comes a window with... Wow! Serral with the great equalizer. Serral just trashed 19 SCVs. That base was actually oversaturated. I was gonna say though, Clem has a short window now where he has the numeric upgrade advantage. Clem knows it, he's gonna pounce. He's also added in Widow Mines. Serral does have an Overseer to counter. Oh, he did? Now he has an evaporating pile of ash instead. Oh, Serral's queen sniped the Raven. But if he wants to save his hatch, he has to fight up his own ramp. Clem is now parade pushing into this. He's building Marines 9 at a time. He's looking to grind the Zerg down. Serral's making 16 Banelings to try to save his hatch. No, it's GG! That's the series! Clem is our winner. He remains the Serral stopper. Serral had some really nice moments in this game, starting with this terrific surround. Serral makes this look easy, but remember, Lings are almost hard countered by Hellions. And don't forget this crowd-pleasing Baneling bust. This is how it is done, people. But neither of these two moments was enough to hold off the beast that is Clem. Oh, and truthfully, because I'm a total dork, my actual favorite move that Serral did in this game was sending out that drone early to stash it for his future 3rd hatch. If this trend keeps up, I really think that pros are going to have to start rethinking automatically sending their opening Reaper to the Zerg Natural. At lower skill levels, that still makes sense for Terran players. The Reaper can do a lot of damage, and let's face it, that's where the drones are, so that's where the killing gets done. But at high level play, the Zerg just rotates their Zerglings and the Reaper accomplishes relatively little. They do accomplish a lot if the Zerg can't sneak out a drone to set down their 3rd. Delaying that 3rd base is a big deal. But if the Zerg player stashes the drone ahead of time before the Reaper actually arrives, there's no chance of that at all. But, if Clem immediately sends his Reaper to one of the 2 3rd base locations, he has at least a 50-50 shot of putting a stop to that. He gets a free drone kill, and he slows the 3rd. Not a bad option. It's actually slightly better than 50%. If the Terran player has done his research on his opponent, he probably knows where the Zerg player prefers to expand, and he can just go there. I'd guess that a Terran player like Special, who memorizes his opponent's habits, will probably have at least a 75% chance of pulling this off. Of course, then the meta's going to shift again, and Zerg's going to return to keeping the drone back at the natural until the queen can safely escort it, and then we're back where we started. But now Terran has cost the Zerg a few valuable seconds, and it's a game of edges in Starcraft, and blah, 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 you get the drill. Whatevs. The real question is, Zugzwang. If Serral did so many cool things in this game, why did he lose? I want to say he should have made that early roach warren for safety, and he didn't do it here. But I have to concede that Serral did exactly that in Game 1, and although the game lasted much longer, the final outcome was the same. Serral lost. But it strikes me that going for Banelings in Game 3 was unfortunate. Clem got a Raven, which he used primarily for creep limitation, killing creep tumors. Most Zerg units suffer off of creep, but Banelings are particularly that much harder to micro once they go off creep. But let's be honest here, Clem was smacking Serral around on the creep and off the creep. So the creep limitation couldn't have been that pivotal here. Serral did get the scout out on the Raven, and it still happened. I'm afraid I'm just going to have to cop out and give that non-committal answer that analysts always do when they don't really know. And I'll just say, Clem was just being Clem. And there's actually something to that. Because if another player tries this on Serral, you know that Serral's going to stop it. If Clem does it, it's a big problem. But all in all, not a bad series, people. I know I'm glad I caught that one. And heads up, for Sunday 10 a.m., if I can finish the bells and whistles on it, I'm planning on dropping this really sweet series between Bjorn and Zest. It's very outside the usual meta and not to be missed, so you might want to hit that subscribe button to give it a chance of making it into your recommendations. Just saying. And I'm also just saying, live life, because nobody wants to die in hold position. So from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.